And then you would come in with like a
I have no sense of rhythm. I can't.
No, as soon as you went in, I'm like, whoa. I remember when I learned how to play guitar, like right at the start, he was like, alright, so I'll play this chord and you do this, and I just, as soon as he strummed, I just went, whoa. No. I'm not going to be able to be in a band. Welcome to Spoiler Talk, where we talk spoilers. I'm Jax.
And I'm Keiran, and this week we're spoiling The Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 1, Chapter 9, The Marshal. So many titles.
I love that it continues it on as Chapter 9. That's a really
Same.
exciting, like, oh yeah, it's like one story. I really like that. Should we get right into it?
Sure, let me start by asking you, because I really want to hear your thoughts on this episode. I've heard tidbits, but let me get the whole thing out. The big Jax rant. Jax, what did you think of The Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 1?
Alright, well I just want to start off by saying, we've had a whole discussion about Season 1, got a podcast about it, but just my brief thoughts. I loved it, I loved all of it, but elements of it were a bit cliche, every episode was a bit too short, and I don't know, I just think that and the music wasn't uber memorable, except for the main theme. So, Mandalorian Season 2. We start off, just like Season 1 starts off, he's doing a little bounty. He walks into a town and it's all like, immediately, first shot, I'm like, this is classic Mandalorian. We've got Mando, we've got Baby Yoda, they're both in like a epic, just Western kind of shot. He's walking, he looks all mysterious. As soon as it started though, I was like, oh, the music already. It's engaging, it's emotive, it's mysterious, it's kind of a bit undergroundy, and I was just like, oh, I feel like they listened to our podcast that we hadn't released yet, and we're like, oh, they didn't like our music, except for the one song. Because I think if I'm thinking about it, the first thing that came to me with Season 2 was one, I looked at the length and went, oh, it's not 35 minutes, it's 55.
Yes.
I started this very late, I was like, oh my god, it was so exciting. But the music, as soon as it kicked in, I was like, oh, this feels a lot better. Season 1 kind of felt like, they were like, we need you to do the good, the bad, and the ugly theme, but Star Wars. And he's like, all right. And he spent the whole time doing that, and they went, this is spectacular. John Favreau was like, this is the best song I've ever heard. Where are the rest of the soundtrack? And he's like, what do you mean? I thought you asked me to do 1 2.5 minute song, and they're like, well, fuck. I guess we'll just sprinkle it through.
I guess we'll play it twice every episode.
This one has some amazing stuff. I think we'll just get to it as we get to it. But the opening scene, we've got the pig boys from episode 6, and they're all like I love that it's just a boxing ring, but they've got axes, but they're doing some kind of magic.
Like vibro blades or something.
Yeah, so it's like not deadly or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love just having that Cantina Band kind of thing going on. We've just got lots of aliens, lots of creatures, and instead of him going after a blue guy, he goes after a Cyclops guy. And like the first one, he goes a shoot off at the start. This one, the same, but I just feel like, I don't know, this just immediately felt like they know what they want to do now. They know what I want from it, they know what's working. Just even in the fight thing where it's like, bam, 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 and then someone goes to punch him, just hits the helmet, it's just like, boom. And it's like, yeah, and it's just like, oh, okay, now they've figured out what's, I don't know. I just think that everything about that start, and then even just instead, like the first time he's like, I'll bring you in hot, or I'll bring you in cold. I'm like, I love it, but I think the first season, I'm like, I wanted to love it. I was giving myself to it, so I was a bit more forgiving.
I was especially waiting to love it, because I feel like the blue guy was throwing me a bit, and I heard that a lot. Anyway.
In the first episode, with that blue guy, I was like, if he's a main character, like if he's our Baby Yoda, fuck me, they fucked it.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that episode, we get the Baby Yoda, and you're like, ah. Yeah. Another thing I was afraid of is the first scene of this episode would be Baby Yoda like forcing 6 people into a thing and doing a thing and just being a bit, like just doing more.
Yeah.
It's just a cutaway gag. There's a bit where it's like, oh, the little Baby Yoda, and Baby Yoda like comes out of the little teapot, and I'm like, cute. But he didn't, it wasn't overbearing. But this episode starts, he does the thing, he shoots the lights out and leaves that guy out, and all the little red-eyed dogs just fuck him up. And then the episode starts, boom, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo, and I'm just,
It's an addictive rhythm, isn't it?
It's so good. It's like so. It's got such a vibe about it, and it's got that Western kind of like it reminds me of Breaking Bad. It's an episode start.
Oh yeah,
cold
that's
opening.
Great. Yeah, I never thought of that.
The cold opening, and it's like, what was it?
Ding,
Ding, ding, ding, ding, and the smoke comes in. Boom, boom. Yes. What I think is like you either have like a Dexter or a Game of Thrones, we have a big opening credits, it's 90 seconds, and it's an immersive, long experience that starts it. Or short and snappy, like Lost, it's like Breaking Bad, and now Mando has got that. It just kicks in. So as soon as this one kicked in, I just went, I feel like I'm back. Like, we obviously don't need to say it, but as huge Star Wars fans, we hit a point a year-ish ago, and we went, Star Wars is terrible, and I hate myself forever. Then Mando came out, but I still had trepidations. Just this episode is easily my favorite of the 9 for literally every reason. Like, constantly throughout the episode, I was like, oh wow, they're really doing it.
I think to sum up our thoughts on Star Wars right before Mandalorian, have you ever been in a relationship with someone, and the relationship's not ideal, and you feel it destabilize and kind of fall apart, and then things don't work out, and you move on from that person, and then you get into another relationship, and this new person is so much worse in every way that it makes you look back on that last relationship and go, I actually had it really good there. I regret moving past that and not seeing the good thing. The past relationship is The Last Jedi, and the new relationship, which is just an abusive mess, is The Rise of Skywalker. And it made me reflect back and realize all the things I appreciated about The Last Jedi, which I guess is a controversial opinion.
No,
but
Last Jedi's great. Yeah.
Every Star Wars opinion is controversial. So who gives a shit?
Yeah. And I love Last Jedi today, and I reckon 3 weeks ago maybe I hated it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Every day I change my feelings on it. Yeah. I think the only time Star Wars fans have ever collectively agreed was when pretty much everyone was like, Rise of Skywalker, no good. And then everyone went, Baby Yoda, cute but actually good.
Yeah.
They've found a line here. So, straight away this episode though, it's like Mando's like, I've got to do a thing, I've got to find some Mandalorians. He's like, I don't know where a Mandalorian is. And I'm like, this is exciting, this is interesting. And he's like, where is he? Bloody, he's at Tatooine. And I went, no.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
Not again.
I remember season 1, it gets to episode 5, the gunslinger, and it's like, back on Tatooine. And I'm like, yeah, bit of member berries here and there. But I really did think it worked mostly.
Yep.
But I was like, fuck, coming back again to start your season feels a bit like,
again?
yeah, and and so actually, I'll just get to the...
Sorry.
No, he's flying into Tatooine and we see a Tusken Raider on a bloody Bantha?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, it looks great. Like this season really, it's a little bit more, it looks great. But then he comes into the loading bay, and then we've got crazy lady with the droids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's feeling a bit small back to Tatooine, but then I was like, no, he's going back to her specifically.
Of course he would. Because they've developed a relationship.
Exactly.
They're on good terms now, and I buy it. And he would definitely park here. Yeah.
My favourite bit about him parking is he gets there, and she's like, hey, Mandalorian. Hey, droids, get the hell out of here. And he's like, no, don't worry. I've had character development now. She's like, what? You had character development? She literally says the words, did you have character development? Oh my god, droids all good. And I was like, yes, Star Wars. Thank you, Jon Favreau. Whoever wrote that line. Hilarious.
And then the droids immediately botch everything.
Always those classic droids.
Are they actually meant to be physically the same droids from Phantom Menace? The 3 bumbling droids? Because I think the guy in that pod died in the race, so it might make sense that the droids ended up with someone else.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the 3 of them, and they're kind of slapstick and goofy. And I remember those droids from Phantom Menace specifically. And there's like 3 of them in the pod race scene. Right. Lots of pod race stuff. A new hero we're introduced to in this episode, Cobb Vanth.
Yes.
Has a very
Star Wars name.
Pod racer-esque speeder, which just looks so good.
It's half of Anakin's speeder.
I don't know if it is Anakin's. It might be Anakin specifically, but I just thought
at that time
we're on Tatooine, sure. Of course, he grabbed a piece of pod racer and just slapped the thing to it.
So I saw a meme this week, during the episode since we've recorded, where it was like, you think you're super cool, but you'll never be cool as someone dressing up as Boba Fett riding Darth Vader's pod racer. And I'm like, that's a funny thing. But I don't think it is the same. I think it's like a really fun, like those droids being the same to me, it's like, oh, that's too small. Them being droids that fix shit, because that's the type of droid. They made 1 billion of them.
And they all come in threes.
Yeah, I love that actually. But the thing about the pod race I think is really fun is it's just like, I don't know, it's like, I have like a Subaru and 2 of my very close friends also have the same car. Like we're all hanging out together, which we can't do anymore. But years ago when we could do that, if you came to the house, there'd be 3 cars and they're like pretty much the same car.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like saying my mate's car is the same as mine. Well, no, it's just the brand. So I love that where it's like, and just that shot of like 2 fake Boba Fett's riding through the desert, and one is like, I'm writing something from episode 6, and the other guy's like, I'm writing one from episode 1. And I was like, it's full circle.
Yep.
It rhymes or whatever.
And it's
George.
And as we said in our season 1 discussion of Mandalorian, this episode is leaning into the prequel era, the original trilogy era, and I'm sure as soon as it is able to, the sequel era, because Dave Filoni just seems to love all Star Wars.
Yeah.
I watched a little behind the scenes season 1 Mandalorian featurette, which is available on Disney Plus.
Oh, cool.
Definitely check it out. And they go over kind of the directors of the first season. And you do get a real sense that each of these directors, many of them are returning for season 2. Mm-hmm. They did have very kind of unique takes on Star Wars and what they wanted to do and where they wanted to go.
Cool.
This episode, The Marshal, is the first episode directed by Jon Favreau.
What's the first one?
First one.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
But he's been writing most of the show.
When you say that, it's like, oh, that's why every shot in it looks like the first season. I mean, especially that first episode, I went, oh, I like it. I'm really into it. But he's a bounty hunter doing bounties. I'm going to like it even if it's terrible.
Yeah.
The direction's not great. The action's a bit sloppy.
Exactly.
This one is spectacular. It's, to me, just like, I can't think of a shot in it where I wasn't just like, wow. Like, I mean, just even the start where he goes into Mos Helgos?
Oh, is that, yeah, okay.
Mos Helgos? The little town he goes to.
Not Mos Eisley.
Mos Eisley too.
Yeah.
You know, and when he goes into the town, it's incredibly reminiscent of like a lot of Clint Eastwood ones. The one that came out to me was Pale Rider, where he walks into town, he's like, I'm the cowboy gunslinger man, I'm going to come and fix the town and help it, and all the townsfolk are like, ready, you know, and just that vibe of him coming in, I just expertly done, I felt.
I gotta say too that I really, what stood out to me on the visual effects LED screen front,
which is magic.
but more so that they're really allowing a lot of imperfections in to sell the images. Lots of letting the sky kind of overexpose, as would happen if you were filming out in the desert. Just lots of little things. There's an incredible wide shot of the, sweeping across the Tatooine desert, and I think there's a trail of banthas walking along, and there's a lens flare, from the sun directly into the camera. Which none of this exists because we know how the Mandalorian is made now, but they're doing little things
in a room.
Exactly, little imperfections with the flaring and blowing the sky out. And what they're actually doing is everything they can to make it feel as real as possible, which includes making mistakes, which I really like because they're intentional mistakes. Yeah. Because if they wanted to expose the entire frame, they can turn their LED screen down, but they turn it up a bit and they just overexpose the sky, and it just goes, I believe that if you shot a camera right at the sun, this is exactly how it would look. So real, incredible attention to detail with how they've developed this technology, how they're using it, how they're selling imperfections. Mm-hmm. I really noticed it here quite a lot. But back to the episode.
Well, I was just going to say, in terms of the visual of the whole episode, I actually, on our season 1 thing, I remember saying some of the desert stuff either looked perfect to me or a bit shoddy. Yeah. Only when the speeders were moving did I go, there was a few shots where they're kind of like, hey buddy, and he's like, hey other Boba Fett guy, and they're both like, yeah, look at us.
Do you know what I think that is?
Yeah.
The big thing really stopping me from buying that is Timothy Oliphant's wonderful hair is not flapping around enough in the wind.
Okay.
And they're going full pace on a speeder bike. You need a wind machine on him. Because his hair's flopping around normally when he's running around, and then cut to him on a speeder, and it's mostly still. There's a slight breeze.
The sexy kind of look. Yeah. But the big vista shots, like there's a few with the banthas and the sand people, and I was like, that looks real to me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we'll get to it, but the hole and the set piece at the end is my favorite looking visual thing. We'll get to that though, because what I want to talk about mostly is this show, like Mandalorian in general. I mean, everyone said about season 1, but we've got to say about this: it's essentially Boba Fett. They didn't do the Boba Fett movie because Josh Trank tranked it and all that stuff. And Josh Trank's a hero. He's the Star Wars hero we all needed. He's our Batman because he fucked up. He did awful stuff. He ruined the Boba Fett movie. Now we get this amazing show. Every issue I had with season 1, a season on workings. It really feels to me like how I'm gonna look at like the whole series will be like how I look at Buffy. Where the first season, it's shorter, it's working the kinks out. Everything that I like is there, but it's not perfect yet. And season 2 starts, Spike gets introduced. And they just I'm not saying into Buffy, but they fix it. And if you look at the whole series, I think season 1 is quite weak compared to the other really strong 6 seasons. And I mean,
for sure,
maybe this show is not going to continue being this fantastic, but honestly, this was such a step up, I reckon.
This felt like the closest thing to a cinematic experience I've had this year.
That's a
like,
great way to put it.
I felt like I'm watching a movie in my home, but I was as in as I'm in when I'm at the theatre.
Yeah.
So, hats off to you, Disney.
And one of the other things that I think this show has done a bizarrely great job of, just because I just can't, I'm just surprised, the restraint. So, season 1, it's Boba Fett. He gets to hang out with IG-88, but it's not Boba Fett. So we get a new character. They're not bogged down by any of the lore. But then there was that 1 second where it was like, is that Boba Fett, Steve? And you have to essentially Google to be like, people are like, this is why. And you're like, okay. It feels like they're putting it into maybe if they want to do it. I remember we were talking about it, and it's like, will we get a Sarlacc pit? He's climbing out, shooting at me. Like, look how cool I am. Look at my costume. Look how badass I am. This show is like going to have its cake and eat it too. Because this scene, when he's like, oh yeah, like the Marshal. I'm like, what? We're going to see someone in Mando already. And he's just there. And the music's like, wow. It's a bit weird. And it's like, just shows him. He's just there. And it's like, he's doing that cool cowboy looking thing. And as soon as it starts, it's like, okay, you want to put Boba Fett in, but you don't want to have the character Boba Fett be cool and be this expanded universe character. So you're like, all right, we need to have someone wear the Boba Fett armor. Who do we get? Hollywood's cowboy. Hollywood's favorite cowboy. Yes. My favorite cowboy. He's from Deadwood, where he plays a cowboy, the one that doesn't say cocksucker all the time. He plays Raylan Givens in Justified as a modern day cowboy. Even in Tarantino's new film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the actor Timothy Olyphant plays an actor in the thing playing a main cowboy guy.
Yeah.
And I've just got to also say, I think Timothy Olyphant is one of the best actors. Sexy, amazing. He's great at doing a cowboy. Like, this really shows it. My favorite role is Santa Clarita Diet. He is phenomenal. He's like a husband going crazy, dealing with the whole situation. He's brilliant in that.
With just touching on him, I just wanted to say, every time he comes into something that I'm watching, and I've watched a lot of Timothy Olyphant now, I always feel like, it's the guy from this thing, and I'm not going to be able to get over that. But he is so likable and just has such a charismatic on-screen energy that every single time I have that thought, by the end of the first episode of the thing I'm watching that has him in it, I'm in. And I'm like, give me more. I don't care. When he took his helmet off and it's him, and I knew, we talked about it.
Yeah, I forgot.
So I knew it was coming, and he takes his helmet off and it's him, and I'm like, he's not meant to be here. It's Raylan Givens, he's all these other things. But by the end of the episode, I'm like, no, this is another staple character, like a few characters we had in season 1, that I can see being a special guest star, regular, over the course of the show. Pop back in and out. He's so likable. I feel like we get such great, simple character development with him and Mando, just over a couple of little scenes and little moments that they have together, little nods, not a lot of spoken word between them, but a lot developed over the course of that. I think that when we get to the end, I believe their relationship.
Oh yeah, I think just one of those things is so interesting where he's like, there's a line where he's trying to convince the town to hang out with the Sand People and kill this big ass dragon, and he's like, I'm pretty fond of this armor, but I'm more fond of the town. And I'm like, Timothy Olyphant. He's so good.
What we talked about with Aaron Sorkin, intention and obstacle, all in one line. We now know what this character wants, what this character has, how he needs to accomplish his goals, what's standing in front of him, everything articulated in that one line. I love that line too.
Yeah. And just with his intro as well, what I found so fun is like we see Boba Fett, he's wearing some red stuff around him, which he just looks so good and so like cowboy and rustic compared to Mando's shining nice, like suit and nice and shining armor, kind of like glowing look.
Yeah.
I just love that we get introduced and he's like, let's have a drink, and I'm just like sitting there being like, but you're not allowed to take your helmet off. He just takes his helmet off. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, it's Timothy Oliphant. Also, the graying beard and just the hair and stuff, like, I don't know. He looked better than he usually does.
Yeah.
I think like they're like, all right, Timothy Oliphant, you're a 12 out of 10. Let's make you a 13.5 out of 10. He's like, can someone be that sexy? He looks back, everyone's just naked around him. They're like, what? I mean, no. So he's great. I think his diction, his tone, like just even the bits where like just the way he kind of has that Western kind of vibe. Like he's like, oh, I think we're gonna have to kill each other. But then I see the baby and I think maybe I pegged you wrong. And just, you know, there's these little words like peg and just the way he uses, I don't know, the language. I just think he nails it, yeah.
And re-watching it, I watched it for a second time because we kind of did this last minute and we're throwing it together. But I re-watched the episode, and re-watching that scene, that intro scene specifically, I really got the impression that, well, this is a guy who feels like he, you know, Mando's going to win. And you kind of get the sense on a repeat viewing, he knows he's outgunned here. Especially,
it's a Mandalorian.
What we come to know about his character, he's just really like winging it, you know, and he's doing his best and he's developed a relationship for this town. We don't get a lot, but we get enough to just inform everything we need for this episode. Apparently he's in a few books and stuff as well.
Yeah, I actually heard the character had rocked up before, but I have no idea about any of that. Couldn't even tell you the book's called. What I bloody love, apart from just, you know, like when they're like the first like sound of the crate dragon rocks up, there's just a bit where he's walking out and it's like you're from behind, so you see like this, it's kind of silhouetted, and you just see fake Boba Fett and other fake Boba Fett rock up, and they're both just staring, and I'm just, I don't know, that just,
it's wild.
It's just wild. But I'm so fucking glad that it's actually not Boba Fett, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But Timothy Oliphant, not last thing, the other main thing I want to talk about is the flashback we get where he kind of explains how he got the armor stuff. My favorite part of season 1 was the second episode, Jawa episode, because it's just, you know, he's like shooting Jawas, fighting Jawas, climbing the sandcrawler, doing all these things, but then later he's negotiating with them and being like, fuck these stupid Jawas, I'll get down that goddamn egg, and he's wrestling with monsters, and it's just that kind of thing. I really liked having that. Like the scene where they're talking with the sand people, and he's like, fuck you, you're a monster, and then Mando's just like, no, we can't. I don't know, and when they see the dogs, and he's just like really freaked out, but Mando like starts doing the sand people talk, and I just found that a really interesting, because you see Mandalorian in season 1 talk with the sand people, and I'm being like, oh, we've only seen them as monsters.
Yeah.
It was so fascinating to just see them as a tribe that he negotiates with to get through, and seeing that really developed in this episode, to me was like an actual joy.
This is truly the sequel to The Gunslinger, episode 6? 5?
Yeah.
5, right. So many elements.
Yeah, and
I mean, episode 2 as well.
And for me too as well, like with the Jawas where he's like, just that bit where he's like crawling through the desert. He's got the magic little things where he's like, I didn't know how this, he's crawling through the desert. And then,
can I just say though, that wide shot, when you see him walking through the desert, I don't know, and it, like maybe again it's just me being in my own head too much about knowing the technology.
Yeah.
But there was something about that shot that made me feel like it looked like a miniature. He looked like a little tiny person.
Okay.
The depth of field was very shallow. It's also out on a bright day. And I just, something was like, you don't normally see this brighter desert, this shallower depth of field, looking quite like this. And maybe there's just a couple of shots in it where I go, oh, I feel like I can feel the technology. But it's not even, I wish I hadn't even mentioned it now, because do you know what's worse than noticing any of the stuff I noticed in this episode? Noticing the edge of a green screen.
Right.
That's way worse. So
when did that happen?
It happens in everything I've ever watched.
Oh, but there wasn't a specific shot in this.
No, that's what I'm saying. The technology they're using is superior.
Yeah,
so the problems I have with the technology are dwarfed by the problems I have with the previous technology.
Yeah. More flashback talk. what I thought was one of the coolest parts of the episode, the droid lady mentions it briefly, but I really it really like sunk in with how interesting this was. It was like, you see the Death Star explode, and I love her. He's like, when the Death Star exploded, the second one. I'm like, so good. I don't know. I felt like it was referencing it for me, but it's like it still worked in the scene. But when you see that and it explodes, and they're all like, yay, yay, and he's like, you know, power vacuums or whatever, and he's like, that night they came in and like there's the mining company or I can't remember what it's called. They come in and they like capture the town and they enslave the town just like that. And I was just like, oh, it's so cool to imagine like while like Luke and Leia and Land are all like dancing and settling, all these people are being enslaved because of what they did. And I was like, oh, this is grey. This is the grey area. This is like really engaging and interesting. But then we also in the flashback get an amazing non-ironic standing still while, like, you know, like walking away from an explosion kind of thing, but he doesn't walk away, he just stands there, he just stares at it. I don't know, I found that like, I don't know, I feel like that moment to me was just like, this is giving me everything.
We also get
that's new, right?
I feel like it is, because I was like, of course it does that.
It freaked. I was like, I don't know what I thought it was. I'd never really considered it. I'm really more focused on the mask kind of part of it. Like, I never really missed that with Mando when we got the images at first. I was like, oh, you know, I noticed that was the difference, but I never went, oh, that means we won't get a thing. When it did a thing, I was like, oh. I'm sure it's been in a book or expanded universe or something. It's not fully original, but that was joy. I also love that he's like, shoot the rocket launcher, and he's like, all right. Did I get it? I'm like, no, you botched it. I love that. It was very funny.
Another just little visual effects tidbit.
Yeah.
One theory as to why they keep going back to Tatooine. It's just a theory, could be completely wrong. I've got a feeling that they're a lot better at generating textures of rocky, desert,
mountainous,
that kind of stuff, and that might be one of the constraints of the technology, because one thing I really would like out of season 2 is some real imagination with this tech. Like, I want to see worlds that blow me away, and they can do it. I want to be more impressed by the technology. I'm aware of what the technology is capable of, and I think that they can confidently nail desert aesthetic, and they're doing such a fantastic job. But like I said in our season 1 discussion, the farm episode, I feel like visually looks the weakest. And it might be because they're not as good at generating kind of organic moving things,
like trees and such,
as textures in this virtual environment, and that's where you get that disconnect. Whereas if it's still sand, rock, like there's just shots of Mando and Cobb Vanth on their speeders going around,
and it's a big one.
And then it'll zoom in, and they'll be in like a little, you know, a little valley, and when they come across the Tusken Raiders dogs from episode 2, you know, all of that looks phenomenal.
I just realized that's also not a location, because to me that felt like they were going from the thing to a location, and I'm just realizing, oh, there's no locations. It's spectacular stuff.
Yeah.
Like the last set piece looks real. It looks like they found a Sarlacc pit, ate the Sarlacc. We're calling the crew, get them to eat the Sarlacc, kill it, and then they just shot there. It looks spectacular. I don't know.
I think this single episode might have made me kind of fall in love with Tatooine more than any other Star Wars thing ever has, and cemented a lot of things that I wasn't even sure I enjoy. I mean, the Tusken Raiders have just always been whatever. And now there's a culture, and there's all these things that I've seen that are in my memory, but now they're getting fleshed out, and that's kind of the best part of the show.
To me, this is one of those things of like, I can't believe it, but they're just like, okay, what the first movie, the Star Wars, the most iconic movie ever. What should we do? Oh, you know how Obi-Wan just goes,
and there was a big skeleton in the sand.
So why are the Tusken Raiders afraid of an old man making that sound? They think it's a fucking giant sand monster dragon worm that's going to eat the fuck out of them.
Yeah.
And 45 years later, or whatever the fuck, we see that, and
no film has had more peripheral content to flesh out and develop every single thing in a movie that hasn't been explained than the original Star Wars has. with Rogue One, the prequel trilogy, now Mandalorian, like so much has been fleshed out from that movie that you just really wouldn't. There's no point in knowing anything about because it's not what the movie's about. It's just
But yeah, I don't know. Like with the first season, not to talk too much, but it's like the thing that I loved was like the Jawa episode was just like fuck. We've seen fucking Jawas, but we saw them interact with Luke the same way 1,000 times because I watched the movie. You know, and it's the same thing, and they do a certain thing. So I just love seeing. There's things we saw, like he's like the Jawas tried to negotiate, and they're like bringing out droids, and they're like, buy our droids, and I'm like, I love these Jawas, I love this culture, I love the idea that there's just scavengers around Tatooine. One thing I'm really interested to hear what you think about, because when it happened in the episode, I'm like, what the fuck? She's like, bring over the map of Tatooine. The whole map of Tatooine is what it kind of felt like she's implying. She's like, we've got Mos Eisley, the one town we've been to, we've got Mos whatever the fuck. And then she's like, all the way over here on the other side of the island, we've got Mos Pesos, which is like 5 buildings. And I'm like, to me, that was like her implying there's 2 towns and 1 used to be town on Tatooine. Is that what you got? Because I was like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Isn't there more to Tatooine? Or is she just picking the ones that started with Mos?
Well, in defense of the writing, I would say that if you have Tatooine be a few select locations, now what we know about this planet and the world and the cultures and everything going on does kind of make sense. And for the larger universe, makes a lot more sense why everyone's always going to Mos Eisley. Because there's only 3 places to go to. So if we want to be generous, I think it does kind of fit together nicely. But in my mind too, I imagine there were heaps of spaceports on Tatooine, not just 3. So I'm with you, but I'm trying to look at it the other way, which is, you know, every game, every Star Wars anything, we're kind of going back to the same rough spot. So maybe there's just a very narrow area where humans can survive on this planet, and the rest is sandworms, Tusken Raiders, Jawas, and just shit that'll kill you. Maybe that's what they're envisioning. And then
you've got some farmers that are farming moisture.
Yeah, who just get obliterated by
whatever goes around. And then you've got like crash ships and Jawas grab it and all that kind of stuff. And I do love the scavenger vibe, but it was just one of those things where I'm like, I just felt like, I was like, what? 2 towns? But as you say that, I'm like, maybe they were writing and they're like, do we pick a new place or do we just go to Mos Eisley? And then they had this discussion and they decided to do it like that.
Sometimes I think that the less you explain with Star Wars, the better it is for everything, and leaving things like the original Star Wars is what it is because so much of it is unexplained and just assumed. Like, this is where we are, this is where we live. And we can go and get a ship here and go and, you know, hire a guy and he's just some... like the universe is just lived in and it feels like people are just operating as they would everywhere in their own lives.
Yeah, the way this show does the kind of the little things. Like my favorite moment in The Last Jedi is when Luke goes fishing and has a big fish and then he gets the milk off the Lapras cow thing. And he's just, and not just his face.
I love it because of what it says about Star Wars, which is
how you live.
Yeah, people are traveling from planet to planet and then going to somewhere with no civilization at all. You got to live off the land, especially if you're a Jedi, I imagine. It's a lot about, you know, living in tune with things. Build the thing.
Yeah, I love the idea of like you get to a town, you're like, I wonder what we're gonna eat, and he's looking through the things like, fuck yeah, we got fish. I don't have to murder that guy and eat him.
And the face at that point is more to Rey. It's like, I don't want to fucking help you. Fuck off. Do you want to drink this shit? Like that's the way I read the, you know.
I just love that. It's so funny. Well, it's so gross. But this has the same thing where like they've murdered the Kraken, which we'll get to, but they're like just at the end the sand people just carving him up, just like I don't know. And then there's a
living off it.
And then Mando's taking a chunk, and you see him just wrap up a tiny chunk of a piece of meat. And I'm like, because he can't take more, but he's taking enough. And I just love the idea that we're not going to see it, but the Mandalorian's going to cook dinner and he's going to little bits of baby Yoda and baby Yoda's going to eat. Yeah. I don't know. They're going to survive off that for a couple of weeks. It's awesome. I just think that, I don't know. I'm really excited by all the creatures, the monsters, all the things. One thing that I thought was really, really great in season 1 was like right in the first episode, they're like, watch out for the ice. There's something under. And then the monster's like, and it comes out and it eats them. And I'm like, that's fun. And then he wrestles a mud horn, he's punching in the mud horn, hitting him in the mud, and That was my favorite bit. And now, obviously, the Crate Dragon attacking them is my favorite thing I've ever seen in my life. It starts off where it goes through town, and it's a bit CGI sand moving, and I'm like, okay. And I'm still like, feeling out the episode. I'm kind of in shock that Timothy Olyphant is Boba Fett now. Well, not Boba Fett, but he's in Boba Fett's armor. So like the Mandalorian, he's fake Boba Fett too. And I was just still, but then it comes and it eats the bantha. But I kind of had that trepidatious feeling where I'm like, this reminds me of the Doctor Who season 10 episode, Big Fish Under the Frozen Thames or whatever the fuck. And you see it, and there's a big eye at one point, and I'm like, I've never been more excited to see, and they imply that it's like 1,000, one person, it's this big. You see a thing, and you never see it. You only see it to the amount we see right at the start of this episode. So for the whole episode, before it gets there, I'm holding my reserve. So I'm like, whatever it's called, where I'm like, don't expect to see what you want to see from this dragon. I can't fucking believe they showed us like 20 minutes more than I thought. Like, that first moment when he's like, the sand people bring like a bantha out here. They keep it hibernated by just feeding it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is all amazing. And he's like, there's no Sarlacc pit that's empty. And he's like, what if you eat it? And I'm like, what? Is that going to come back? Did Boba Fett eat the Sarlacc pit? Because that's what you've implied. No, obviously not. But all this just lore and stuff. I was like, this is really thought out and really interesting. And then it fucking eats the sand. It's like, twist! And eats the sand person, and all the Tusken Raiders are like, oh!
Yeah.
There's so much of this show is like cutting to someone who doesn't actually have a proper reaction, and I'm just reading so much. Like those sand people, like especially on a rewatch, they just all they go is, but I'm suddenly like, there's so much emotion, and I feel they're like, no, our friend, no.
And it's because he was running, I guess.
Yeah, it kind of
vibration.
Yeah. And then just seeing that dragon really properly. So many teeth, the way the sand falls off it,
yep.
And the way we slowly, like a classic monster reveal, just get more and more until there's that moment where I didn't even notice it the first time until the sequence ended and it went with the IMAX shooting off and it's like, and I just was like, oh wow, we went to like IMAX. I didn't even notice.
Not IMAX, just 16:9.
Sorry, it just gets real big. Sorry, it's because we recently watched Interstellar. That's why I thought of IMAX. But when it goes like this, and it first comes out and just starts chomping them and doing all this stuff, it looks so good. I love the setup of that final action set piece where you've got like, I don't know, it reminded me a lot like Game of Thrones, where it's like, we've got, like the wildlings and the Night's Watch, we've all got a band up together, we've got spears and things, and then you've got a monster and stuff. But in this, it's just this giant dragon. I loved how they've got the spears and they're throwing stuff, and there's lots of different tactics, and they've got to get it to click a button and explode it. And then it's like, all right, we're doing the set piece, but we want to have a bit of Boba Fett, double Boba Fett, jetpack action. So what do? We'll have it dig into the ground, go up to the top of the mountain, and just start spraying acid.
Another great reveal.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. It's so vicious and disgusting. Like, and there's a bit where just a couple of sand people are just like, look, and then they just melted and they're just gone. And I don't know. I think it's really kind of ingenious the way they kind of do things where it's like, it's got a crate dragon. So I'm like, is it going to be a fire? Is that, that's just kind of a generic dragon thing. They're like, nah, it's going to spit venomous acid.
Yeah.
And then have that as the set piece kind of arranging where it's spitting them. They're like, we got to fly up and do this thing. And I don't know. It's spectacular stuff. Like it looks really good. There's no moment where you're like, they've shown it a bit too much. It's lost any effect. Like there's a moment where it really like comes out of the sand. But then, I don't know. I just think that whole set piece is like, my only issue with that is like, I can't imagine something else exciting me the way this scene did. You've got the sand people and the band and all the elements, and it just looking so good, and having like a really clear goal, and it also kind of being very simple. Like he meets this Mandalorian, it's not who he wants, but he's like, "Fuck you, give me my armor back. Yeah, let's kill this dragon."
I think if I had one issue with it, it might just be the resolution. Getting eaten, zapping it, flying out. Little easy, maybe.
Sure.
Could have done something more. I don't know.
Yeah. For me, it was one of those things.
If I had a complaint, which in the moment I'm not thinking about. Yeah. I just when he got eaten, I'm like, he's either gonna cut his way out or he's gonna get spat up, or they had to do something.
Yeah.
Maybe just if there was I think it's just because they put so much thought into so much in this episode. I thought maybe the resolution would have clever little callback or something.
Something happens. We're like, oh, that's right. Remember that thing he said in last season, or maybe, or
Sure.
or he's
And
using
that's
a
just-
little tool.
I'm
that he's got-
nitpicking. It's not a big deal.
For sure, and I'll counter that by I think the one moment that actually makes me not care about any of that thing you said, just in terms of my own issues, is like there's a bit where he's like, you got 2 Boba Fett's there, you've got the bantha, it's lined with explosives, ready for a set, like a plan B kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, and Timothy Oliphant's like, what are we gonna do? He's like, I don't know, but maybe first I'm gonna Boba Fett you. He's like, "Wah!" And he gets Boba Fetted away, and I'm like, okay. I had so many thoughts. You're either going to climb out of the Sarlacc pit, or you're going to have a moment where Boba Fett's like, I'm the real Boba Fett. And he's like, no, I'm the real Boba Fett. And he goes to shoot him, and then he gets hit, and he falls into a Sarlacc pit again. And you go, isn't it fun? And, you know, they were doing something like this.
Yeah.
This show's like, no, we're going to have your favourite cowboy be in the Boba Fett outfit, where he's doing a bit more cowboy than knights, but he's looking like a knight cowboy. And all these things were just so much stuff where I'm like, they're having their cake, they're doing all the Boba Fett stuff. There's 2 Boba Fetts! So I was quite surprised by the restraint in being like, we finally got a shot of Boba Fett. He's not climbing out of the Sarlacc pit. He's not wearing the armor, being sexy, shooting people, being really great. He's not being really clumsy. You know, there's none of the things I expected. But we kind of got all of that with Raylan Givens, the bounty hunter. Oh, the Marshal, sorry. Cobb Vanth. But the restraint, I don't know, I was really surprised to see it. But what it did remind me of, which made me go, oh, I shouldn't be fucking surprised by any of this. In season 1, the whole season, he's like, my Mandalorian armor, I'll never take my helmet off, I'll never take it off, not to show a single person. And there's like an episode 4 or something where I'm like, oh, he's gonna take it off and kiss the babe, no, don't do it. And he didn't do it. And then the finale, the fucking villain, you know, turned hero, IG-11, is like, I'm a robot, I am not a man, you can do it. And he's like, still don't fucking do it. And then when he takes it off, it's not sexy over on being sexy and like, look at my hair. He's like
sweaty and
bloody. He's all like, and he's, you know, and he's like moving his head and he's like, you're gonna die. And you know, it's just like, oh, that's restraint. You know, show it like this. This is perfect. You know, you've got IG-88-7 Boba Fett. When he takes his helmet off, it's like, it's all working. And so to show Boba Fett like this at the start, I'm like, I can't believe it, because it's like, not in my wildest dreams did I actually think he'd be a character. Whereas the way we saw him at the end, I'm like, is he going to be like Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi? Or like, you know, like Logan, like Wolverine in that movie? Like, is this going to be like an actual take, an actual character study of this thing? He might never wear the armor, and that just...
I think, well, if you want my theory,
of course.
I think that because of what we know of what's coming in this season, this is a character who has a very clear hatred of the Jedi. He has very clearly defined motivations, which, you know, the Jedi killed his dad. He doesn't like Jedi. We're going to get a Jedi this season, and we got Baby Yoda in the mix with Mando. So to me, it feels like an inevitable, all of these things coming together, and he's going to be the big bad of the season, is what I think.
Oh, okay.
Because he is he's not a Mandalorian. He's using his father's armor, which was stolen from someone else. But, you know, the Mandalorians are as attached to the armor as Boba Fett's going to be. They're going to come head to head. If for nothing else about the armor. And then maybe they'll patch things up. And then it'll be like, oh, you got a baby Jedi with you? The race that killed my father? Fuck you. And then if Ahsoka shows up too, she looks a lot like a Jedi. He's going to be like, nah, I don't like any of this. And then Boba Fett's our bad guy. Maybe he teams back up with the Empire, who he has already worked for in Empire Strikes Back. And, I mean, it would fit, yeah, if he teams up with Moff Gideon.
I've just realised I need now a scene where Boba Fett fucking faces off with Ahsoka and then murders Captain Rex in front of her eyes, which means he's murdering, like, a version of himself. Because I think that they're going to put him in. Because they've got the guy back. And Ahsoka and Captain Rex come back from clones. Oh yeah, so he'll look different and stuff. But then it won't be weird where it's like, it's like, you know, like, but it'll be, because I think delving into that lore, like, I remember listening to a podcast once and it was like, Boba Fett's spin-off movie, the one I'd want, is Boba Fett as a kid realizing that every single clone that dies is seeing his father die in front of him. And I was just sort of like, oh, that's just odd and complicated. He would then be seeing his father. Like, if he shoots a clone, it's like shooting someone who is literally his father.
If
like,
not him, yeah. Either way,
it's him in 15, 20 years, which is just so messed up and bizarre. Like, just a bizarre situation to be in. So I would love them to just play with that a little bit. And honestly, it never even occurred to me. But seeing him without his fucking costume, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know.
For me, it's like, this isn't Boba Fett. Because Boba Fett's the guy in the armor, and it's a little short dude.
Who sounds real like... I know he's got like a real kind of different
And I've seen
voice.
photos of like the real actor with the Boba Fett helmet off, and he's got like a little mustache. It's just a white dude, like, he just looks so funny. He's got like big glasses, I think.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it just looks like the last guy you would expect to see. It's exactly the moment in Rick and Morty where the Mandalorian Mad Max character takes his helmet off and has the most, like, someone's like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't expecting a mustache. Oh, I can shave the mustache. No, it's fine.
That's amazing.
That is awesome. Yeah.
Alright, yeah. Any more?
Yes. So, one of the main things that really took me away, that's nothing to do with anything, like in terms of plot or story or anything, but it just blew my fucking mind, is I was talking to my brother, like, how much is Mandalorian? He's just watched all of it, and he bloody watched the new episode, I'm like, big crate dragon, blah! And he's like, oh, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, fuck you. But he was like, oh, what do you think about Princess Caroline being in it? And I'm like, what?
I didn't know that. I did, yeah, wow. Who is it?
It's the droid lady. That's Princess Caroline.
What?
I didn't really like her in season 1. I thought she was a bit like...
I didn't at first, and then by the end of the episode, she won me over. So then seeing her again here, I was really like, yeah, I like this character.
So Princess Caroline plays that droid lady, and that just blew me away. Princess Caroline from BoJack Horseman, probably my favourite character in that show, and it was such a moment where every time she speaks now, I'm like, I like her a lot more now.
Even now that you've said it, I can't connect it in my head. They're not the same.
Yeah, no, when she was talking, I was
characters-
imagining that actress in a sound booth talking, and I'm like, that's really fucking with me. Like, I don't know. She's fantastic though. Like, Princess Caroline's one of my favourite.
The weird thing, like, until you said that, I'd never even thought about Princess Caroline, that there's a real
This is not a cat lady who's an agent / manager or whatever.
Yeah. Because there's so many voices in that show that I know.
Yeah, well, you've got bloody Breaking Bad and Arrested Development, big stars and all that stuff.
And Gravity Falls girl. Who's
oh my
heaps of
god,
stuff.
everyone.
Yeah, like and
actually,
his mum. Like everyone is a voice I know, but then Princess Caroline's there in the middle.
She's just the cat lady.
Yeah,
oh
so
my god.
Yeah, that's.
It was really interesting.
I like her even more now.
Yes. The music. I mentioned it at the start, but what really got me, I have 3 main points. When he first enters, he's like, I'm here to see the Cyclops man at the start. And the guy's like, bloody, come in, baby. He doesn't say like that at all. But he's like, come and enjoy the fight or whatever. And the doors open, and the music's like, and it's very electric, and it's crazy, and it's just, I don't know. I was like, oh, this is, like, it's really good. Like, they're just putting effort in where it's like, that Fight Club area just had a vibe. As soon as it walked in, the crowd built up, and the music kind of built up, and I was like, fuck yeah. And then we get the journey to Mos Not Eisley, and it's got this brilliant, like, it's really similar to the main theme, where it's got these Western vibes, and it flows beautifully. But easily, the song that stands out, for me, is the Tusken Raiders song.
Yes!
When the Tusken Raiders come over the hill and they're riding the Banthas...
You see them one by one. I think you even see Mando and Cobb on one, when that music plays.
Yeah. It's, and the...
Real great.
Yeah,
they have a theme. To me, that's their theme now. They have to use that if they bring him back.
Yeah. It's really epic, grand scale, like... I don't know, it's probably not like, but it reminded me of like Aladdin and like this big epic sweeping kind of, I want to say Lawrence of Arabia, but I've not seen that movie, but that's the kind of vibe I got, where the music's kind of swelling and, I don't know.
Sounds right.
It sounds right, I was just listening to it and it was just like, dun, 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 and it's just building, and it's this beautiful theme, and over the beautiful landscapes, and then having these big banthas they're riding, kind of like very reminiscent of riding like an elephant through a thing or something.
Yeah.
And it had that kind of just, I don't know. It just, hearing that and seeing that, it was just incredible. I also loved the fact that when the Sand People are doing things like, I remember at one point the Sand People drop like one of the explosives. They're like, what's he trying to blow at us? And just off screen somewhere, one of the Sand People is just being like, and I'm just like, There's like 3 or 4 sounds that are iconic. You got like R2D2, you got the of Darth Vader, and then like the lightsaber sound, and maybe the gunshots and the TIE fights. Like there's very distinctive sounds, but one I didn't realize was so distinctive to me was the kind of sound, and I just hearing that, I'm like, it's the 4th movie where it's like,
and they didn't get the coverage, so that's like played back and forward.
Tiny mentioned that, I just went home and I watched it, like the whole scene, not just the clip, just build up to that moment and just sing. It's just like. It's so bizarre. Fuck yeah, that movie's the greatest. That's all I really have to say about music. Just a real step up. Like season 1, I was pretty into it, but sometimes I was kind of like, oh, that one theme.
And there's nothing else super memorable.
No, not at all. Although
nothing bad either.
No. When I was listening, I was driving over here today, so on YouTube, just my phone in the car, just playing through the songs. And the lights been like, yeah, click again. And then at one point, you just kind of play through to another song. And I was like, I don't recognize this song. And then like I looked at after when I like parked and I was like, oh, that was from episode 5. That was a good song,
Yeah.
But nothing like the Tusken Raider theme and the theme when he goes from Droid Lady where he's like on the YouTube it's like got the scene where he's like, do you still got the speeder? And she's like, it's a bit shitty, but I still got it. And then the music plays and it's really good stuff. Like I don't know, I think he's really stepped up. I think it's probably because he had he spent 5 months making the theme. Now he was able to spend 5 months making the songs because he just used the theme again. Even though when the theme appears, it's a bit more. I don't know. It was like a different version of it, but the same. And I don't know. I'm fucking so keen to like play more songs and hear more music from it and stuff.
I think you mentioned something before we started recording.
Yeah.
That the final shot of Boba Fett against the twin sunset didn't quite work for you, like a lot of the other ones do.
Yeah, so it's a weird thing of, I think the first time it's kind of just like, it's odd seeing him there, but it's like a beautiful shot where the speed is going through and you've got the twin suns, and I was like, the episode's ending. What a fucking, I can't believe what I'm watching. And then he appears, I'm like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I really didn't expect him so early. But it really kind of feels like out of every shot, and it's like, I don't know, there's 2 shots where like 2 Boba Fett's are shooting a big dragon, spitting acid, and there's like 50 people shooting spears, and I'm like, that looks real.
Yeah.
If they said they found a dragon and fought it and killed it, and then everyone ate its meat for a week, I'm like, cool, that's awesome. Whereas if you told me that you went to a set and shot him, I'd be like, you fucked that up. If you went to a desert and shot that was the one shot in the episode where I went, your magic LED, CGI thingy, replacement green screen thingy. I know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think maybe it's a bit, I don't know, cynical, but I don't know. Did you find that?
Yeah, I feel like, because when you said it, I don't even know if it was just all of the things together, like ambitious shot, very kind of specific orange lighting on everything, and then the fact that it's a returning actor, but also a returning character, and those 2 things aren't the same. Yeah. So there's like everything in your mind is just disconnecting, and I'm like, yeah, I know it's Boba Fett, but it's not Boba Fett. But it is, and it will be, and I'm sure they'll make me believe it. And then when I rewatch this episode in a year time, when we've seen all the Boba Fett stuff this season, I'll be like, it's fucking Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But right now, yeah, it's Tamara Morrison.
For me, it's hard to read exactly what's going on there as well, because I'm like, I guess, so what's happened in the continuity at this point is that he's somehow got out of the Sarlacc pit, he's lying on the desert, the Jawas have taken his costume off him.
I feel like fundamentally though, at my core, I'm not excited for anything yet, because Boba Fett doesn't really have a character in the original trilogy.
And now we have Mandalorian. Even this new Boba Fett.
Who is such a fleshed out character. So we got all that work done on what is essentially, it's like a Captain Phasma of the original trilogy. Amazing design, terrible death, wasted potential, really, like all of these things wrapped up together. I know they'll do a really great job because they do a really great job of everything.
Yeah.
But there's just something right now pulling me out of it, and suspension of disbelief. Not something that you can control or quantify. Just something that happens or doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, I didn't really think that, I'm really intrigued to see if they actually make him a character that I love, and I'm like, I love old man Boba Fett, like that would be really cool to me, but
because his only motivation in the original trilogy is just he's working for Jabba. He needs to do what Jabba wants to do, which is get Han Solo. He doesn't even really have a personal stake in it.
No.
There's no development with Han Solo and Boba Fett, even though those two characters are
I've heard a lot of people being like, oh no, I feel like I get a sense of that, but I've never really got a sense of that.
He is a droid. He is a cutaway character to get a shot of, so that when you fuck up the scene you're shooting, you can cut to Boba Fett. And he's like,
yeah, and you're reading stories like, oh, that cool, sexy bounty hunter.
Yeah, but there's no character. He's just he's as much a character in the original trilogy as IG-88 is.
I think the most character we get from him as well is the potential implication that he's just been chilling at Jabba's palace, just like with the babes and the cool guys drinking and whoring and just doing whatever. And I like that idea that he's like, he got a bounty and he got enough money. He was like, I'll just chill here for a bit. This is pretty cool. Everyone's awful here.
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah.
Do you think that Mando, Din Djarin, is that his name?
Sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
Do you think he knows Boba Fett already? Because Din has been a Mandalorian for...
I think that could be very exciting. Like, not too much where you're like, we were brothers, you and I, Boba Fett. But if he's like, you, Boba fucking Fett, or something like that. Like, have
finally
tangential relationship. I mean, even enough to have a flashback scene would be pretty spectacular.
To the Empire era.
I remember you saying like how cool it'd be if we got a whole flashback episode showing what Mando was doing at that time, and it's like
he was a bounty hunter then.
Yeah, that would be really exciting. Maybe even him and Boba Fett teaming up on a mission at one point, both like out to get the bounty, kind of like him and IG-8 at the start. But maybe even just like less, like really not too much, but maybe even show a tiny bit where they're totally getting along. I don't know. And then it's like a lot of conflict when he's like, get the fuck away from my baby Yoda. He's like, give me the baby Yoda.
Jedi, I have to kill it.
I think the best thing they can do with Boba Fett is don't give him the armor back. Have him armorless all season.
I feel like he has to get the armor back.
It's like just...
He has to.
For sure. But also like why? Because people love it. But then we've got Mandalorian.
You can't end the first episode with him looking at Mando riding into the sunset with his armor, doing an angry face at camera, and not give him that armor back. I'm sorry. They have to.
Yeah, no,
he has to put it... Because that's... I mean, he hasn't been Boba Fett yet. Tomoira Morrison. He's only been Django.
Yeah, that's true.
And the kid was Boba in episode 2. This is his first time portraying the character, even though he's become synonymous with it. It's so strange.
It is so strange. One question. You want him to be the antagonist, or you're feeling a sense that he'll be the antagonist for the season?
With Moff Gideon.
Yes.
And I feel like that flows naturally from what we know very little about the character. But they could do anything.
For sure. Do you then want him to be taken out at the end of the season and have season 2 be the Boba Fett season and then we're fucking done with that shit? Or would you prefer to then maybe have an entanglement, a build-up, he disappears and he's like an ongoing antagonist of the series? So the series, the Boba Fett and the Baby Yoda, and then main antagonist is actual Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Or do you just want it to be a one and done big bad of the season?
I think that the big bad of the show will be Moff Gideon. And I think that
make it Gus. Gus should be the big bad of every... He is the big bad of every show, but you should make him the big bad.
Yeah, I think that it might be a season 2 type thing, and that they might have thought the story through and wrapped it up, because it is a big actor there too that they're going to probably pay a bit of money, and maybe it's easier to just do a single season. And who knows?
I think in terms of storytelling, like to be tight and concise and do everything, like like this episode, I'm like, if they don't show us Timothy Olyphant again, I'll be super sad, but I'll also be like, well, he did quite a lot. Like I really enjoyed the arc, and he just gave the armor back. He's like, I am a man of my word, and I love that. But there is a bit at the end where he's like every character in season 1, I'll be back for episode 7 or 8, baby! And he's like, see you then.
He also mentioned something that I thought was interesting. Why even mention it? He's like, I didn't break that armor, by the way.
So all up, pretty goddamn exciting, especially considering how much content's coming out with lockdown. It's like their magic LED system where it's just one room and they're like, look, it's a nice thing, it's this, it's that. They can go to all the planets with their one city in each planet, and I don't know, I'm very, very excited. I was not actually that keen for season 2 in terms of like, I was excited for it, but now I'm like I didn't watch this episode for 2 days or something, And I just kind of watched it. I was like, oh, I'm going to watch it before I come over on Monday and we'll chat about it. It'll be fun. I watched it and I'm like, fuck that shit. I love this so much. It's doing everything right at this point. I'm really excited to see where it goes from here. I'm really fucking keen.
There's maybe more potential in this show than any other show I can think of in recent memory that we're, season 2, episode 1, and where there's just so much that can happen, will happen. Yeah. We've only got 7 episodes left, but they're longer episodes, hopefully. Hopefully that remains consistent.
I think that will. I think that will definitely be one of the things. Because that seemed like, that was probably universally criticised. It's like, that was super short.
And Disney Plus knows now this is their flagship. This is what's bringing people in.
Yeah.
This is, yeah.
It's the only reason anyone got Disney Plus, and a lot of people like me were like, oh, the Mando's coming out. Did I subscribe or did I unsubscribe? I've still got it. Still got it from last year.
I cancelled mine.
Yeah. I've watched things a little bit. I've watched just about that stuff. But pretty excited. The last thing I want to say is, how awesome is it that this show is about Mandalorian, Mando, and Baby Yoda. And this episode has Baby Yoda there. He's there. He closes the capsule at one point when he's getting spooky. But it's like mostly just there as a cutaway. There's one great bit where he pops out a little teapot and he's like, "I'm my Baby Yoda," and it's like really great. But apart from that, he's barely in it. And once again, that restraint of not being like, I mean, I guess they did know what they were doing, but I was really afraid that season 1 was going to be, that was the Baby Yoda at perfect level, and then they were going to be like, oh, you like Baby Yoda? How about Baby Yoda does this and this? Baby Yoda fucking kills the Kraken.
It's Incredibles too.
That's exactly what I was afraid of. Where the best part of season 2 was the Baby Yoda killing the dragon, but the rest of the episode was terrible because they thought that's enough. If he's in it doing a thing, that'll be enough. But you could almost take him out, and that's just really exciting. Yeah.
What other small side characters take over a show? There's got to be
Groot.
Oh,
I think Baby Yoda was probably inspired by Groot. Baby Groot specifically.
For sure. Guardians 2, and Guardians 2 I think really, on my first watch of that movie especially, and much less ever since, but the first time I watched it I thought, it's a bit too much of this.
Of the baby
Groot. Because it was just one shot in the first movie.
And he's dancing.
2 shots then. There's the reveal and then the dance, which is like a post-credit scene.
It's a joke at the end. It's not even a...
You are absolutely fucking right, and I feel really manipulated now. I don't like The Mandalorian anymore. Let's end the podcast. No, I'm joking. It's great, but I'd never even thought of that. That is so spot on. It's Disney. We made the perfect product that...
It's green. It's small. It's from a thing that's bigger. It's got impossible powers. Like Baby Groot doesn't like, my arms are big. Oh man, that's maybe bigger. I think he does stuff, but mostly he's running like that start bit with the big space Kraken is shooting its rainbow explosions, and little Baby Groot's just like, and that's essentially Baby Yoda. You've got him fighting and stuff, and then it'll cut to Baby Yoda drinking a tea. I think it's better than Baby Groot. I think Baby Yoda is like...
What?
I think Baby Yoda is spectacularly better than Baby Groot. Just in terms of like... I don't know. I find it really engaging. It's also a story thing. It's a tiny little baby with impossible powers. The Empire wants that fucking shit. Because of course they want that shit. And that's really exciting to me. And the fact that he's not like, oh, it's a little Jedi. His like leader and commander's like, they're from sorcerers. You've got to go hunt the sorcerers and find them.
And there's some vague reference to the Force here and there, but it's...
Everyone's
forgotten.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, I think, yeah. He was like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just find all that stuff really exciting, and I like that this character is kind of thrusting the plot forward. Where I would love Mandalorian just to be a show about a Mandalorian doing a bounty hunt each week, a different hunt, a different mission, whatever. I'd be happy with that. The fact it's that, but also, I don't know. He's got that protector thing. I'm really excited. I don't know. I want one episode this season to deal with it, and the rest I don't want to touch it. It's so majestic, the music for the Sand People, like the like the way it's like sweeping. I can feel like the music's sweeping over the sands and stuff.
Yeah.
It's very majestic music for a group of monsters. They kidnap Anakin's mum, presumably for sex. Maybe not. Maybe just to look at her, but I don't know. They've been implied as horrific monsters.
Very interesting contrast to, use them that way in episode 2 and then really go out of your way to humanize them. Thus making that moment even more horrific because it never really felt horrific to me.
Yeah, there were a bunch of monsters.
Yeah, but now I know that people that have lived there for ages,
And
thousands of years.
They've probably become that harsh and brutal.
They've adapted. That's why they survived.
Yeah.
You know, that's why there's barely any settlements, I suppose, if you want to tie it back around to what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
You know, I guess there is a lot of life on this planet and things going on everywhere. It's just not a lot of spaceship settlements. And
Mostly people and things that can adapt to this dirt,
yeah.
shitty sand planet. Yeah.
So, what do you want from Baby Yoda over the course of the season?
I want him to keep popping out of teapots and people looking over and being like, "What's that?" And he's like, and then 3 times he uses the Force. They're all spectacular. And there are moments where I don't realize it's going to happen until it's happening, and I'm like, fuck yeah. Like in season 1, where the stormtrooper's like, it's like boom, 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 and he's like, I got a flamethrower, I got red on my suit, I'm the bad guy. And then Baby Yoda's like, and then he's like, what's that? I'm like, ah! Because he can just stand there, and I'm happy. I want one episode though. One episode where we go somewhere, and someone with the Force is like, that's a Baby Yoda. No, I don't want them to say Baby Yoda.
Well, just that there was another Jedi of this race. He was
someone
the last
maybe
of his
who's aware
kind.
of I want someone who's aware of stuff, maybe not even Yoda, but maybe, and just something. Maybe at the end of that episode they're like something Dagobah, or I don't know, and it leads to something that's not, because we know he's not there, or just, I don't know, I think that would be really interesting.
Do you want a planet of Yodas?
Absolutely not. I think the last...
Do you want Baby Yoda to become a Jedi or a Mandalorian?
I just had an image where he puts on a little baby helmet, and then the ears sticking out, and then he's like, no, and then you see the Mandalorian, he's like, with fire, and then it goes, and then the episode ends.
They would sell so many toys.
Yeah, I've already pre-bought it. Like, I'll get on my phone. Oh, yeah, no, Mandalorian. But then he's got the Force still, a Force-using Mandalorian baby.
Unstoppable. Why was he not fighting Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah. Do you have anything you want from Baby Yoda?
I honestly don't know, and I just, I would like them to surprise me. I hope there are some surprises in store. I hope that just in the inception of this character, they figured out the backstory, and man, you saying that Baby Groot thing filled me with a deep sense of dread.
Oh.
Like, they haven't thought about this. They said, we're making this show, slap cute baby character in.
Someone said, what about Yoda?
Again, you can be cynical or positive about things. There's nothing wrong with doing that, and that can grow into a great character. I just would like if they had a really great take from the outset that they're building towards, as opposed to discovering it or figuring it out as it goes on. The last thing I'll say, Baby Yoda may have gotten more women into Star Wars than any other decision ever made in Star Wars ever. My girlfriend loves The Mandalorian.
Oh, really? Yeah, nice.
Loves it. Friday night, every time it's out, we're there, we're watching it.
That's great.
And this seems to be true for a lot of people. So I love it for that fact, that it's bringing in my sisters and, people who...
A different demographic.
Exactly.
Yeah, probably one of the... Weak is probably not the word, but like the least...
Oh, without a doubt.
What's the word? Like
women don't really fucking... I don't know.
Just generally, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not all.
Of course, same with everything, yeah.
But it really, in my life, my subjective view of
my
reality...
entire life, everyone I've spoken to is, so what? No.
All the females I know, they're not interested, or I've made them watch it. That's it.
And then they hate it.
Yeah, they tolerate it or hate
that
it.
big dog.
They tolerate it or hate it. That's it. There's no in between.
That's really funny.
But yeah, The Mandalorian is the last hope for Star Wars. There'll be more great Star Wars. There'll be a never-ending revolving door of content from now until the end of time.
But
this is great.
This is, I think it's more than great. Like, if this wasn't coming out, Star Wars for maybe 12 years would be like, remember Rise of Skywalker? I'm like, shut the fuck up. What do you want me to come over there and beat the fuck out of you? Don't mention that film. Whereas now I'm like, have you seen The Mandalorian? You know, like, I can go around, like at work. I remember the first time it came out, we walking past someone and they'd be like, this is the way. And I'd be like, this is the way. I'm like, it's back! Star Wars is back! So quickly after it being like at the bottom, it's just climbing its way back up.
Alright, so we're going to do this every week.
Fuck yeah, we
for
are.
the next 8 weeks.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Episode 2's right around the corner, and yeah, we'll have one of these up every week until the whole season's out. Looking forward to it.
Fuck yeah.
Thanks for watching Spoiler Talk, where we talk spoilers. I'm Keiran.
And I'm Jax.
Thanks for watching.
Boom. Do-do-do. Do-do. Do-do. Do-do-do. That's enough. We're good. Clear my throat. It's empty. Oh no.
Oh,
Oh no, where's my real drink?
Spoiler Talk is produced by KCBN Studios and Space Kraken Media.